And now, the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brandon Staton and Tyler Hansbrough.
Welcome to SleepHawk Worldwide Sportscast. Sportscast. This is Sleep Dog. I messed up my intro, man. I tried to come at it with a zinger and do the whole thing off. But anyway, this is Sleep Dog with the Big Hawk.
What's up, everybody? It's the Big Hawk. Great podcast. Tough weekend for the Hills. Actually, my dad called me and asked me if we had a tackle. We had one tackle the whole game, and boy, it was a rough one. But if you guys are in Keenan, we're thinking about you. But yeah, man, me and Sleep Dog were excited about podcast. Yeah. So excited about it.
Might be the best episode yet, guys. 53 in the first half from James Madison against the Heels. To the Heels is 21. Just an absolute. There's nowhere to, there's nothing that needs to be said that isn't just plainly obvious. We don't have to pile it on. I think this is one of those rare occasions where we try to be probably overly fair in our coverage of UNC sporting events because, let's face it, we're Tar Heels, and we want what's best for the Heels. That was not our best look on Saturday. James Madison, good team, okay? Not good enough to score 53 in the first half. No excuse there. 5 turnovers for the Heels. We actually outgained them, outpassed them. Marion Hampton was going 7.3 yards a carry. 5 turnovers will hurt you, though. We had a block punt return for a touchdown. I think we had a pick 6. It was just brutal, man. This stadium was empty at halftime. And frankly, can't blame you for leaving that one. Hope you didn't spring for the old luxury suite over there, the scaffolding in the corner. And Mack Brown said it. He came right out and said it, so I don't really feel like we're, going against the grain here. Just not a good game for Carolina. Probably, I don't know, man. One of the worst losses. All final score is 70-50. I don't even know what the over under was, but I promise it wasn't 120. Just insane game, really. I don't even know where to start with it. We just kid from JMU, quarterback Barnett. I think he went to Grimsley. I looked up. I was like, where did this guy go? How many stars? 3-star recruit, went to Grimsley, 7 touchdowns. Great for him. The team's leading passer, 388 yards, 5 touchdowns. And then leading rusher, 13 carries for 99 yards and 2 more touchdowns. I don't know, dude. I don't even know where to go on that one.
Well, I'll start off just saying that sometimes you play games, especially in sports, where it just doesn't make much sense. And what we did was we no-showed, and there's no excuse for it. That happens. And I know that Mack Brown has faced a lot of criticism. A lot of people are saying a lot of different things. I would just tell the fan base to calm down a little bit. I think Mack Brown is a great coach. He's an established coach. He doesn't need to prove himself. He's a Hall of Famer. But, you lose games, and that's why you play him, and there's going to be upsets. There always will be. But it's how you bounce back from this, okay? Are we going to let this have a hangover effect? Are guys going to get a little discouraged and stop working? I think this is one of those things where you go back into the locker room and you start grinding it again, and you keep all the voices that you listen to come from that locker room and from the coaching staff. That's the best way to handle it. That's a mature way to handle it. But we will see how this team reacts to this. This is a bad loss. It looks bad. So what? This happens to every team. The only problem is in college basketball or college football, because of the season, the way it's structured, you're penalized much more for losing these type of games, and there's not a lot of room to make up for these type of losses. But that's what happens when you schedule games like this. But that's my own thought, and that's not a really, well thought out from a football, savant analysis. But, I can tell you I've been a part of a lot of bad losses, and that's the best way to look at it. And I think any team in any sport, that's the way I would go about it.
Yeah, you can let it wreck your whole season, which is still early on. And unlike we talked about last week, we're not exactly vying for the college football playoff here, okay? I don't care. Even if we went undefeated, I think we probably aren't going to get a whole lot of credit for that given the strength of schedule. Actually, I think, based on who's on our schedule, James Madison might be one of the better opponents we play. Over under in this game was 48.5. Okay. 120. Both teams went over it by themselves, obviously, because Carolina scored 50. Carolina's favored by 11.5 at home. So needless to say, kind of a shocker. I think just in the way it happened. In the final score notwithstanding, 53 in the first half is staggering. I just couldn't believe that. I think they scored on it. They scored on at least 4 touchdowns now on 4 straight possessions, offensive possessions. Also had a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown in the first half. I think all this stuff happened. Not gonna lie, I kind of just started drifting off after a while. Started looking for some paint to watch dry. So, you said it perfectly. You got to stick together at this point, and this is one that's almost such an anomaly. You just got to let it roll off your chest. I don't know if you'd rather lose this game like we lost it, or be down toward the end of the season with a chance to, make a big bowl or win the conference or something like that and end up losing it. At least this one takes whatever pressure, which I don't think was much, is on the team and removes it.
Yeah, and also Sleep, you got to think about it like, this loss could, humble this team from the aspect of, hey, you know what? We just lost to James Madison. We're about to have conference play here in a little bit. We need to get right because teams in conference are going to, they're going to be better than James Madison. We got to bring it. We've got to really improve so we can compete. And, they can look at it like that.
Yeah. We just calculated before. I don't know how many days it is, but basketball starts on November 4th, gang. So at this point in time, get to some football games, but the end is in sight on 11-4. That was just, there's nothing, honestly, nothing really positive to come out of that.
Yeah, and Sleep, I just want to say something. Basketball is on the horizon. It'll be here before you know it. We didn't talk about this before the pod, but there's some big games that Carolina basketball has scheduled. You got the Maui Invitational. That's going to be exciting. A lot of good quality teams, but also we go to Lawrence and play at Fall Gallon, which is going to be a great game. And their students are going to bring it, arguably the toughest place to play in college. I'm really looking forward to that one as well.
Alabama at home for the SEC, ACC challenge. What do you know about this Memphis exhibition? That just seems weird. It's like Memphis is a big program play, but like what's going on there?
I'm not really sure what's going on. It seems like it's a little bit of a fundraiser for, what's a hospital there in Memphis that does a lot of work with the kids?
St. Jude?
St. Jude. It sounds like it may be something associated with that. I'm not really sure. But, this isn't uncommon. I think actually you can schedule a scrimmage now with another program and just not have an exhibition game. That's the way some people do it, if I'm not mistaken. But there's a lot of scrimmages that happen between teams that may not get reported, and they try to keep it a little secret. But this isn't a surprise. I'm not sure how it was set up. But Penny Hardaway, the head coach of Memphis, I'm pretty sure they probably got on the phone and just said, hey, let's scrimmage each other. But Memphis is a great city, man. It's about 2.5 hours from my hometown, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Rendezvous. Anytime we went to Memphis, when I played at UNC, we always hit up Rendezvous. Coach Williams loves that place. It's a great barbecue spot, Sleep. I'm not sure if you've ever been there, but it's kind of by the Peabody Hotel, down a little alley. Amazing barbecue. They have a great sausage and cheese plate as well. So hit that up if anybody's out there.
As someone who's been to Memphis many, many times, I have never heard of it. So stayed at the Peabody a bunch. Got ducks take the elevator and come splash around the fountain, man.
Great place.
Yeah, super, super cool place. There's a lot to do in Memphis. So if Carolina fans would go out there, don't sleep on Memphis as a tourist attraction. There's some cool stuff. The Lorraine Hotel, where Martin Luther King was assassinated, been to that museum. Graceland is there. Beale Street. So some cool stuff. Yeah, we got UCLA at Madison Square Garden near Christmas. Got Florida and the Jumpman Invitational. Before that, we got Alabama. Got the Maui Invitational. First game, we're going to play either Auburn or Iowa State. So, yeah, we got Kansas, like you said. Memphis, even though it's a scrimmage, is contrary to the football schedule. This one's lining up to be a pretty solid slate of games. So, yeah, we're looking forward to – and we will get into more of basketball as we start to, come up on the 1 month mark. But yeah, a lot of good games on the slate there. A lot of good games. It's a weird NFL weekend, man. Like a lot of low scoring games. A lot of teams winning that you probably wouldn't have expected to win. Primarily the Panthers. Okay, so I hate the Panthers, all right? But I'm going to start there because I think most people like the Panthers here on our podcast. Dude, they benched Bryce Young. Not an unpopular decision. And Andy Dalton goes out there and looks like friggin' Joe Montana. 3 touchdowns, 319 yards, and they beat the Raiders on the road 36-22. And that's after the Raiders scored 15 in the fourth quarter. So things can't be looking up for Bryce Young.
No.
That was a weird situation. I mean, a lot has been covered about how much they gave up to get that guy, and hindsight's 2020. But I think there were a lot of people that are like, really, Bryce Young? Like, you think he's your guy, huh?
Sleep. I said this when they were looking at him, talking about him. The guy's not big. And I am not a fan of small quarterbacks. Never have I been. And I know Tua's done good, and I know Kyler's done good in Arizona. But I'm just traditional, man. I like I really like the Peyton Mannings. I like his size. I like his abilities. I like Tom Brady. I like those quarterbacks that are passing quarterbacks. I'm not a big fan of the running quarterbacks. And the shorter quarterbacks. I mean, Bryce Young. Guys jumping have to see over the offensive line, and
he's a little trampoline back there.
Yeah, and somebody in a group text said, imagine if he had the weapons like what's the guys from the 49ers that's hurt right now? Played
Brock
for the
Purdy.
Panthers.
Brock Purdy.
No, the running back, the guy that McCaffrey. Somebody said, imagine if he had McCaffrey with him. Well, no, duh. I could play quarterback if I had McCaffrey. Yeah. Hand the ball off, toss
imagine
it.
If he had LaDainian Tomlinson and Jerry Rice.
Imagine if he did. Well, imagine if any other quarterback did. That's a hell of a weapon to have. But it's not a shock. And it also goes to show you, like, I've always said, like, hey, don't play your quarterbacks too. There's nothing wrong with the quarterback sitting out a year and gaining knowledge and learning from somebody else and learning the structure and the plays in the NFL. I think that's super important. I think if you throw a quarterback out there, especially somebody that lacks the size as a Bryce Young, and by God, the guy's only $180 as well. We need to get him in Golden Corral for sure. Put on a little weight, but
it says here he's 205. I don't buy it.
205, yeah. If you put a weight vest on him, I tell you, Sleep, he's not 205. But. There's nothing
at the
wrong
combine. It says between 185 and 195.
Yeah,
sorry,
it's like a guy redshirting and learning things and getting better. I don't understand why people feel so obligated to start these high pick quarterbacks. I've never been a big, take a huge gamble on the first 5 picks in the NFL draft. I think honestly, I really like building from the line and building that, but going with a more for sure draft pick. But the Panthers have lost way too many games in the past few years for me to jump on board with them.
Dude, I just got this notification on my phone that apparently is 24 hours old. So, but by the time you read this or you hear this, it will have been old anyway. This is from CBS Sports. That says North Carolina coach Mack Brown told his team following Saturday's 70-50 loss to James Madison that he would, quote, walk away and step down if he was the problem. sources told 24/7 Sports Inside Carolina. Players vocally supported Brown and took the blame themselves after Brown made his address. Quote, he will be in the office tomorrow and getting back to work, one source told Inside Carolina on Saturday night, going in and having a normal Sunday. So just more reasons. I just think it's more reasons to like Mack Brown. You know, I think the thing of it is I think he's the realist of our program, right? And like, I just think he has a very realistic set of expectations for what Carolina is and will be, and he understands that those expectations are not aligned with what the fan base probably thinks, and he seems sort of immune to really caring about it. And I think as someone that is halfway sane about it, yeah, I'm cussing at the TV while this whole game's going on, but I'm also a realist. It didn't ruin my week. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I did not know that. And I just saw it come across my phone. What were we talking about before? Bryce Young. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No chance. Like, and starting quarterback. So it brings you back to Drake May, right? Like, I mean, mm-hmm. They put him behind Jacoby Brissett, and they're not going to be any good, and they haven't been with him under center. And Gerard Mayo, who's the coach there, said, hey, well, I don't care. Drake May's still backup. And it is just interesting how quickly, and the thing of it is like we just talked about it in relation to Mack Brown, but in the NFL, it's the coaching carousel. They bring you in and you've got to win, and you got to win quick. And I think it's a recipe for disaster because your coaches have to win, or they're going to get canned. They'll fire a coach, they'll hire a coach, and they'll fire him one season in. And it's like he has no time to build anything. So it creates a perfect storm, in my opinion, because you're exactly right. Look what the Packers did all those years that Mike Holmgren was there. You had Aaron Rodgers sit there forever, like 3 or 4 seasons. And then, he was Aaron Rodgers. That's the crazy thing you start thinking about Aaron Rodgers. Like, that dude didn't play for 3 or 4 years. Then you think about, like, Jordan Love underneath Aaron Rodgers. Same kind of situation. Yep. You think about, I want to say, you got Brady. You got guys like Pat Mahomes didn't start first year. So I don't know, dude. It just seems like if you can just be patient, and I would just imagine that if I'm a head coach looking for a job, if I'm one of these guys that has like some sway, I'm like, hey, look, I'll take your job here. If I'm, Bill Belichick, right? Hey, I'll take your job, but here's what's going to happen. We're going to go get a quarterback, and we're not going to start him for 2 years or a year. Nowadays a year is like, okay, fine. But yeah, I'm with you 100%. Like a part of me, I've said this many times as a Washington fan, like I wanted desperately for them to draft Drake May, and I was pissed when they did it. Now Jaden Daniels looks good, so I'm happy with that. We'll find out tomorrow night, Monday Night Football. I was happy for Drake because generally, if you go to Washington, there goes your career. So, I'm much happier for him, despite the fact that I'm sad for myself. But like, yeah, you see what's going on now. They get into a mature franchise versus one that has been woefully immature for decades, and got one starting and one being. They're being patient with, because the last thing I'll say is, like, if Bryce Young has any talent, dude, he's shot at this point. How are you going to come back from what he's been through?
Yeah, I don't know. Confidence is super important, especially at the quarterback position. He'll get his opportunity again. I think so. And it may not be with the Panthers, but I think he'll get another shot. And but I'm not the biggest believer in Bryce. Let's just say that. But I do think he'll get another chance.
I was reading today where they're receiving phone calls for trades. So look, Trey Lance got a trade to Dallas. They are Dallas down. They're on the comeback trail. They scored 19 in the fourth quarter. Right now, they're trailing 28-25. Dak Prescott, I don't understand why And they signed Dak Prescott a bajillion-dollar deal. Like, why would you trade for a guy like? I guess they got him for nothing, like Trey Lance. Rams win last second over the Niners. Niners are 1-2 right now. Everybody on their team's hurt. Big Hog doesn't care because Jawan Jennings went for about 40 fantasy points.
Yep, waiver wire pickup.
Just for the record right now, guys, my fantasy team has 55.5, triple nickel, 55.5 points. And yeah, all games are final except for Kansas City defense. So I need a good 70 out of Kansas City's. I need Kansas City's defense play like JMU, and I got a shot. Lions beat the Cardinals. They're 2-1. Giants beat the Browns. Boy, how do you feel if you're the Browns, man? You give what's his face all that money, and
who's their backup?
I don't know. Let's find out.
They got a decent backup.
Depth chart. James Winston. You're right, and I think there's a lot of people that are be okay with making that call at this point. Let's see what else is on the scoreboard here. So we've got the Lions. I said that, yeah, dude, guaranteed money, man. Unreal. Seems like money's just easy to find in pro sports. Like, I mean, we were talking about this the other day. Joel Embiid signs a 300, like some, I don't know what it was, just ungodly amount of money, $190 million in 3 years, 3-year deal. This dude's gonna when his deal's over, he will have made $514 million playing basketball. He's been healthy, as Big Hawk pointed out, one full season, never been to the finals. $500 million playing basketball.
Yeah, and Sleep. He was MVP, but I will say I'm with you. He's such a talent, though. I mean,
I love him. I think he's awesome. I mean, I like Joel Embiid. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. And it's a big risk considering his what he's been through with his body and all the injuries.
100%. Packers win 30-14 against the Titans are 0-3. Yuck. The Bears, they lose again. Caleb Williams had 383 yards. He threw the ball 52 times to get it.
Not a Caleb Williams fan.
I don't like that guy.
Yeah,
Drake's him better than he is. 363? Yep. Yeah, it's 363. The Sleep Dog can't see too good. Colts are 1-2 after the win. Texans lose 34-7 to the Vikings. Vikings are 3-0 under what's his face? Sam Darnold. Speaking of guys getting second chances. Wow. Texans, I have CJ Stroud as my quarterback. That did not go well today. Eagles 15, Saints 12. What a slugfest. That was 3-0 headed into the fourth quarter. Steelers 3-0 beat the Chargers. Justin Fields is 3-0. Speaking of people getting their second chance. Let's see. What else we got here? Broncos 26, Bucks 7. Okay. Broncos get at least 2 rushing touchdowns. My guy Javonte Williams was not one of them. Also on my fantasy team. We already talked about the Panthers 36-22. Dolphins just get smacked by the 3-0 Seahawks. Geno Smith, speaking of somebody getting their second chance, 24-3. So yeah, maybe it's not the end of the road for our boy Bryce Young. Jets 24-3 on Thursday. Aaron Rodgers looked pretty good. I don't know if you watched much of that game, but I think people forget that dude is Aaron Rodgers.
That dude is a beast. He's one of my all-time favorites to watch.
God, he's good. We got tomorrow night, we got Jags Bills. That'll be a fun one. And then we got Commanders Bengals, which will not be a fun one, but I will watch because that's my favorite team. So we've got I think Joe Burrow's healthy. ABC. Yeah, so they're both, you can actually watch both of them. 2 Monday Night Football games. What a treat. Oh boy. So that'll be tonight as you're listening. What is that other one? There was one game that Falcons Chiefs is tonight. You were talking about Kirk Cousins, your boy. You like Kirk.
Yeah, and the other thing is Baker Mayfield's another one of those guys. Second chance. He's been playing good even though he lost today.
Yep.
He's kind of,
Jared Goff.
his career. Yep.
Another dude.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I was telling Sleep before the pod, man. Kirk Cousins, man, I don't know what it is, but he has me pulling for him.
You guys have similar wardrobe.
Yeah. No, I'm pulling for the Falcons, and a lot of people have him as a sleeper. But I think he's, I've got Drake London on my fantasy team as well, so I need him to throw a lot of passes to London's way, or that, could really go south for our relationship as far as me pulling for him. So need him to do that. But as long as he does that, man, I'm pulling for the Falcons. Man, I'm a free agent, Sleep. I have no team, so yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, this is cursed. I'm trying to see what anything imported in football. BYU beat Kansas State. Kansas State was 13. LSU won. Notre Dame won. Louisville beat Georgia Tech. Iowa State beat Arkansas State. Clemson beat the brakes off of NC State. Northern Illinois, that journey's over. Texas A&M. Yeah. Anyway, nothing exciting happening there. Gosh, I had one other thing I was gonna. It's not close. Today's the autumnal equinox. Did you know that?
I don't even know what the hell that is.
It's like the first astrological day of fall.
Astrological?
Yeah, so like there's a seasonal transition of seasons, right?
Oh.
Because of the weather and shit. But then there's like the physics-ish. Let me see what the autumnal equinox is. I was reading it on some like polished website. So hang on, check the facts here. Autumnal equinox.
Explain this. I have one other question for you.
Sorry, it happened at 8:43 a.m. today, the 22nd, Sunday. Yeah, it was. I don't know if you guys were up, but if you noticed it, yeah.
That explains a lot.
It happens twice a year, March and September, as a result of Earth spinning on an axis that is tilted 23.5 degrees from the plane of its orbit. During the equinox, places around the globe experience nearly equal periods of day and night. That's almost pole to pole, by the way, which is pretty cool because, like Alaska, as everybody remembers, that was following along, doesn't have a whole lot of nighttime in the spring and doesn't have a lot of daytime in the winter. So, what were you going to say?
No. I now that you said that, I do remember the Alaska thing. UNC's getting a hockey team. They're building a hockey. Have you heard about this?
No.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh God!
Now, can you fight in UNC like in college hockey?
Fight in college hockey? That's a great question. That is one of the more provocative questions that's ever been asked in the history of this podcast. Can you fight in college hockey? It seems like something the NCAA would say no to. Let me ask. Hang on.
Man, hockey's not hockey without fighting.
Can you fight in college hockey? Here it comes. 5-minute major and a game disqualification. Meaning that the offending player is out of the game and the next game.
Yeah.
So you can fight, but just the same way you could fight in a basketball game. Yeah, it's going to get suspended. I don't like that. Not a fan. Not worth building a stadium.
I think they should take away the suspension.
Yeah, I think they should take away all. I should take away the 5-minute major, man. Ain't nobody going to box for 5 minutes at a Canes game. What about the basketball stadium? Are they actually going to build that? Have you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that. I hope not. I'm a big fan of the Smith Center. I know a lot of people are against that. I love it. I think there's something to be said about walking to the Smith Center. And also, it's just me, man. I know the Smith Center so well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of things that need to be taken care of, and it's a lot of work, but the place is special to me.
Yeah, I love it, man. I wouldn't mind a little modernization, but I could do without moving it. Oh boy. That was a golly day. What are you watching on TV these days, dude? I mean, we got 5 more minutes to fill here. I gotta give the people what they want. Let's get outside the box here.
What am I watching on TV?
I got a couple things.
Not a lot of things that bring any substance. Let me tell you something. You know what, Sleep? I'm not really watching a lot, to be honest with you right now. I can't think of one thing I'm watching. outside of like local news.
Wow. Local news, man. They think everything's an emergency. I love watching local news. Guys outside in the rain.
Yeah.
Like, no shit, it's raining. I mean, I knew that. You're right down the street. It's raining in my house too. You find out what about, like, you know, what do you do? Town hall meetings and stuff?
You know, they'd be like, there's a speed trap on 40.
Like, dude, I saw Marcus's shout out to Marcus Ginyard. I saw his story on Instagram the other day. He was watching live a town council meeting on his laptop. I was like, bub, we got to get you out. Gotta get you out somewhere. I've been watching The Penguin, dude, on HBO.
It's pretty
Remember
good.
The Penguin?
Oh yeah,
it's interesting. You know, it's kind of it's like I'm not like into the comic book stuff, but like if I were to pick one, Batman is definitely the thing. And so I is running low on things to watch. And that's like this kind of acclaimed series. So I watched the first. It's one of those things where they spoon feed you the episodes, which is nice because that way, you know, if you get into it, you're not just like, oh shit, there goes 3 days of my life. But I just started watching that, and
check it.
You know, the first episode's like an hour and a half. It's crazy. It's kind of nice, right? Yeah. I mean, I did. I mean, dude, these days I try to start watching something. And whoever this is the best use of AI you could possibly use. Is like, I need it to detect when I fall asleep and stop. Right? Because I mean, I can't tell you how many times I start watching something. And then I'll wake up and I try to watch the next, I try to pick up where I left off. And I am 3 episodes in the future. It's like,
yeah.
Netflix solved the password problem. Like, they need to solve that problem. Because, buddy, if I could stay awake for a whole hour, and it doesn't matter what time of day it is. I mean, I could get up in the morning and snort a K-cup, and I ain't staying awake for an hour to watch something. I will fall asleep. So,
I'm falling asleep too. Sleep. I'm with you.
Dude, I just don't know how to do it.
I don't care. Put me in focus on TV. I'll fall asleep.
I just bought a big green egg. Big, very big green egg is what they should have called it because it takes like a quarter of my deck. But, guys, I was telling Big Hawk, man, I smell like a coal miner. I've been out there for 3 solid days, and I cannot. Dude, it takes an absolute master to keep the temperature on that thing. I can't figure it out. So, like, oh, man, I think I woke up my son. I'm going to be deep shit, guys. So I open up the bottom chamber. It's like an airflow thing, right? But if you open up this stuff, the only way to like cool it off is you got to close the vent on the bottom to like that wide. I mean, it opens up like this wide. You got to close it to like that wide. And you got to turn the thing on the top till it's like that much open. But then all the coals go out. Then you have another problem on your hands. So earlier today, I'm trying to cook a pork tenderloin because you got to ease it in. So like you can't just go out, start grilling, at 500 degrees, right? So one of the ways that you heat it up is you lift the thing up and let the charcoal get burning. Then you put the lid down. Well, I had a beer too, and I kind of forgot about like putting the lid back down. And I was like, by the time I put the lid down, it's got a thermometer on it, but put this lid down, dude, it shot up 700 degrees. I was like, and you ain't supposed to put it over 350 for like the first 3 or 4 tries. So yeah, needless to say, and then I sat there for what felt like 2 hours waiting to get back below 500, and I was trying to get to 350. So anybody with some green egg tips, man, there's something to be said for simplicity. Just turn on the propane and throw some burgers on the grill. But yeah, I mean, that's the highlight of my life, though. I'm gonna master that thing, dude. That's where life is right now.
Sleep. I have never done the green egg thing, but can't do that with my my condo because of the code.
The HOA.
But, I'll let you cook for me one day.
Hey, dude, I got a TV mount on the outside of my house, and I'll have it here in time for the Commanders game tomorrow. You want to come through?
May not leave.
Oh man. Anyway, next thing you know, I'll be grilling some damn Jimmy's seafood crab cakes on there.
Absolutely.
Probably about the only thing I can't mess up on that thing. You got anything else, Big Hawk?
Stay safe.
Stay safe.